What's up, everybody? We are live. I'm here with the financial weapon. Wait a second. That doesn't look like the financial weapon. Guys, Jay's like, that's not me. We're going to talk about Jay in just a second. So I want you guys to get to meet Jay and just learn everything about what we're doing at Root. But I have a quick story I have to tell you because it's funny, and I'm going to get to some announcements as well. So a few things. One, guys, you'd be shocked by the amount of emails I got last week from people saying, Ari, why did you start the live early? You said it was going to start at 3:30. It's 3:24 right now. Last week you started even earlier, and they were actually upset at me. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, hey, did I do something wrong that I'm not aware of? In my head, I'm like talking to my fiance, Alice. I'm like, Alice, imagine we're at the doctor and they go, hey, we can take you early now. Is anyone no, my appointment's not for 6 more minutes. I'm like, I've never heard of anyone being that upset, but there are some characters out there. Okay. So thank you guys. I am all about punctuality. I want you to meet Jay, and Jay's going to tell a little bit about what he does here at Root. I want you to hear from our special guest today. Today's episode is not going to be your typical, do this conversion and here's where you withdraw income from. I might make it that. I'm just kidding. It's not going to be that. It's going to be all about purpose in retirement. And so I know some of you are already chatting. What's up, Tim? What's up, Hoy? Howdy all. Yep. Hoy, we got a new member. So I want you guys, this is my goal by the end of this episode, okay? I want a new nickname for Jay here, okay? We've got the financial weapon in Lucas. As you guys hear from Jay, put in the chat, what is your nickname for Jay? You don't have to do it right now, but let Jay tell you a little bit about himself. Oh, Jake YT7, I'm glad you're here. Jake, this is the episode for you, because tell me if I'm wrong, Jake, but I believe a few weeks ago you were like, I think I'm retiring in a few weeks. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. This is for you, because this is going to be a special guest who's going to talk about when she knew it was time to move into recreational employment and away from the traditional workforce. And it's going to be a ton of fun. So Jake, let me know if that was you or if I'm thinking of another Jake. What's up, Woods? Hey, Raul. So Jay, what the heck is it you do here at Root?
That's a good question, sir. And everybody's trying to figure that out. My job is I get to talk to awesome people that are looking to work with Root Financial. And I get to have amazing conversations, talk about Root, answer all the questions they might have. And then really, I get to see, okay, are we a good fit for them? Are they a good fit for us? And if we mutually agree that's the case, then I get to have the fun duty of playing financial matchmaker and pair them with one of our incredible advisors that I think would best fit their needs. And that's really it.
Amazing. Yeah. That is it. And let me pull up, because Jay's being humble here on the website. So this, when you guys are going, what's the deal with all these super good looking people here working at Root? You can see here, we've got Chris and Carly and JT and Katie, and these are the amazing advisors that you're working with. And what makes it special, in my opinion, I'm just going to pick on JT here. Here's an advisor that's joining us from Charles Schwab, where he's like, look, I'm at Schwab right now. I work till 8 p.m. I tell my clients to work till 8 p.m., but that doesn't feel right. And I want more work-life balance. And I want my clients to have that. So I want you guys to be able to, at any time, you go to the Root website, you click on this About button, you'll learn more about us. You can see Jay right here with the nice beard and learn about his story and what he does as the client success manager. He's the one more than likely you're going to talk to when you reach out to Root to see if it makes sense to work with us. Now, Jay, what were you doing before this? Because I think it's a cool story in terms of how you're here at Root now and just the business you are running.
Really?
And be as anti-humble as possible, please.
So I used to be in the insurance business. I was an employee benefits broker. And in end of 2015, I had an idea. Well, it started before that, but to create a premium hockey bag and apparel. So in 2016, I launched a brand along with my brother called Pacific Rink. And it was a wild ride. We started with a Kickstarter because we built this premium expensive hockey bag to solve all these problems. But we decided we needed to see if it was a viable product, right? Did people care about a good hockey bag? So we launched Kickstarter 2016. It took off from there. And we're like, oh, we have a business here. So yeah, I was doing that for many years, all the way through COVID. And interestingly enough, you guys, I used to talk about James and Ari because people would come to me for marketing advice, advertising and how to start a podcast. And I would say, you got to listen to James and Ari. These guys are crushing it. They're in a space that's probably oversaturated a little bit and complex, but important stuff. And they break it down into these really consumable, digestible, like bite-sized nuggets, right? So funny enough, a door opened up. I was introduced to James and Ari, and it was so strange talking to them for the first time because I had been talking about them for a couple years, so I felt like I almost knew them. And of course, like you guys, watching the YouTube channels, watching the podcast, or listening to the podcast, and to be honest, like I left a dream of mine of owning my own business, and it was a great run. But working with Root is the best decision I ever made, and I love it here.
Amazing. So guys, one thing Jay left out there, you guys think of Mr. Wonderful and Robert Herjavec and,
Hmm.
Mark Cuban. Jay is going to be the new member of Shark Tank. As soon as they allow a next shark, that is going to be Jay. So Jay, we love
Yeah.
having you here. I want all of you to get to hear more from Jay and get to learn more about him, but he's the coolest guy ever. So guys, we are going to have some fun. Now I have to tell you a few fun announcements. I know more of you are hopping in. Once again, today is not going to be let's do Roth conversions and withdrawal strategy and Social Security and umbrella insurance. Today is going to be just literally hanging out. We're not going to do anything. I'm just kidding. Okay. We're going to learn about purpose and fulfillment like you've never heard before. You're not just going to hear it from me. You're going to actually hear this from someone that went in through my academy, said, I think I want to work with Root, but I don't know. So I talked to her a year ago. We had a good chat and I told her, look, you're very nice. I know you want to work with us. I don't think we can add enough value, to be honest. So let's hold off for now. She's like, okay. And then I said, enroll in the academy. She went through that. She followed the rules and went through it all. And Tracy's going to be with us in just a second. So guys, I'm going to let her come join and tell her whole story. But it was awesome. She went through that. She then did a one-on-one session with me. And really, I loved it because she's now going, yeah, I want to do what I want to do. And she's well known on LinkedIn for talking about, how many of you guys have heard of the Sunday scaries of like, it's Sunday, it's 2:00, it's 3:00, oh, it's 4:00. I know I have work tomorrow and I'm supposed to be excited, but I do have $1 million. So should I really keep working here? Like, I want you guys to know the earliest time work is optional. And I joke, and yes, it's a joke. I am the meanest advisor. I'm not actually mean. I just want to make sure you don't retire and go, should I have worked another year or 6 months so that I make sure I'm doing this right so I can actually spend what I want the rest of my life? So guys, thank you for being here. We have a few good nicknames coming in, Jay. So we've got Matchmaker Jay coming in. I like
Okay.
that
All
one.
right.
The
I like
Future
that.
Shark. Jay, do we like that one?
The future shark. Yeah. It's funny about that because we almost thought about going onto Shark Tank because we were that perfect storm, right? Your product, you keep growing, your purchase orders keep getting bigger, you got to get more money. And then you're like, we need a capital infusion. So we almost applied for Shark Tank.
Wow. Wow. Who knows? Maybe Root one day. Probably not, but you never know. Okay, guys, let's see. We've got some other nicknames. So, guys, I want to talk a little bit about what today is going to be all about because it's not going to be your traditional episode. Mark here is going, Sunday scaries are real. LOL. Yeah, Mark, they are real. And, guys, I want to do just a super quick poll. I want to know how many of you are like, look, I know exactly what the heck I'm going to do in retirement. I've got it dialed in. I'm not even worried. Like I've got my laundry list and I just cannot wait. Just financially, am I there? So number one, put that in the chat. Literally put the number one like this, if that's you. If you're like, look, I think I want to know, but I don't really know. I just worked a job for 20, 30 years and I maybe want to do some travel. I don't know exactly what. I want to have purpose and fulfillment, but if I retire early, I don't have my coworkers. So, if that's you, put number two into the chat. I want to get a sense from you guys. How many of you are like, I know what I want to do. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping. Number one is like, I've got it dialed in just financially. Janice is like, I'm not even worried about this. Others you can see here, Tim is like, yep, I just financially, am I good to go? Jim, yep, I need to know the numbers. You'd be shocked, guys, how many people go, I think I want to know. And Jake, you brought this up last time. Where are you? Jake YT7. He goes, yeah, I finished on Monday. I'm looking forward to literally Jake, guys, he just retired this Monday. I mean, let's give some applause. Look at this. Number 2 from Reboss. Number 2, Michael. Number 2, Michael. Guys, it's really weird because I know some of you, let's see what you hear, Jake. I'm keeping as flexible as possible and not nailing myself down. Okay, awesome. Lots of you guys, the majority of you are putting in 2. Maybe it's 50-50 right now. Jay, does it look like 50-50 to you?
Yeah, looks like
maybe 50-50.
A lot of 2s, a lot of 2s.
Lots of 2s of some of you are like, look, you give me that long, you just financially, am I good to go? I'm in. But look, let me just tell you the quick story and then I'm going to introduce my guest. Okay, so this, I'm pulling up on my screen. Give me 1 second. This is what I care about more than most advisors, I would say. And the reason for that, oh, Jay, we just got a good nickname for you, Jedi Jay. That's pretty good, Frank. I like that one.
Boom.
Jay, we can select in a little bit your new nickname. But guys, this is called our post-career purpose finder. And I'll tell you why we do this. So some people, their pet peeve is when someone drives slow in the left lane or whatever. And no one likes that. But my bigger pet peeve is when people go like this, I think I could get away with spending $8,000 a month in retirement. Maybe I could even get away with $5,000 a month. I mean, I could live on ramen and eggs like in college. I mean, I don't know if I really want to, but I probably could. And I'm like, I'm sure you could. I don't want you to, though. And retirement is not about getting away with something. Retirement's about going, what would you love to do? And are you in a position to make that happen? And sometimes I have to tell someone, look, I need you to work 6 more months so you can really do what you want to do. Sometimes I have to tell someone, look, why the heck are you working? You told me you didn't want to die with 10 million bucks. So if you want access to the purpose finder and the software and everything we discuss, we're going to start putting the links into the chat so you can get access to all of this stuff. It's all in the academy. I release everything in there. I want to introduce our guest. So Tracy, you are now on the show officially. I'm going to make it bigger so everyone can see you nice and big. Welcome, Tracy. Tracy, you are the rock star that I want everyone to hear from because you made the tough decision to go, yeah, I'm moving into this next stage of life. So I would love, if you're open to sharing, a lot, of course, questions I have, but I want to start with people just hearing from you. Why now? Like, why did you feel now is the right time to make this call?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, Ari and Jay, and I'm enjoying seeing the chat. So thank you everyone for welcoming me in. Why now? That's such a great question, Ari. I had been and still am in the employee benefits business, and it had been 3 decades. And probably like a lot of people, with the pandemic, I really did a lot of soul searching of, is this really what I want to do for the next 10, 15 years? And so maybe like a lot of people on this call, I went through some soul searching, and I would call it a 2-year odyssey. I knew I was in a place where I wanted to make a change and wanted to look at what my purpose should look like for the next 5-10 years. And so I started doing some homework. So I had done some research, and I know, Ari, you've talked about this on your podcast, the rule of 55. Could I retire at 55? I had consultation with one advisor, and then Ari, you probably remember I had an initial consult with you when I was still working, and I remember you told me, you said, Tracy, I don't think you can retire yet. But after a lot of soul searching, and Ari, I know you're going to ask about this, and some health concerns, health needs, and then also fast forward to what example I wanted to offer for my daughter, who's a teenager, I decided, you know what? I need to make a change, and there's no better time than now because the future is not promised to us. So I made the decision. I gave my employer 6 months notice and resigned with the intent of pivoting to another career, another move.
Love it. Tracy, not easy to talk about, first of all, any health stuff, any retirement stuff. someone came to me and they're like, I'm so ready for retirement. I've got it all dialed in. I'm like, look, sorry to break it to you. You don't. Even if you think you do, you don't know what's coming. And yeah, Tracy, some people don't love the idea when I tell them, look, you're just not there. But it's so that when you are there, you're like, oh, I'm doing it and I'm not going to worry about anything else. And Tracy, so this new career, what about not even the financial side? Like, what about this new career excites you? Why this transition?
Yeah. So I had thought a lot about how I wanted to do coaching and consulting and impact others, and specifically impacting others who were in my industry. And I knew there was just something else that I should be doing. So it was kind of I'll call it, as cheesy as it might sound, a calling. And so I didn't know what exactly it would look like, but I knew that there was a way I was going to have an impact doing something different than what I was doing before. And you might ask about this. I knew I had made an investment to save enough to take some time away to do some soul searching and evaluation. And I was fortunate, and I know this could sound entitled or not, but I was fortunate to be in a position where I had made some wise investments and I knew I could take a break to explore the what ifs.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's honestly, Tracy, because of your education and desire to go, look, I'm going to take the steps to learn about this. I don't imagine you were like waking up dreaming about, oh, let's talk about 401ks and investments. And like no one's doing People want to really take control of their life, but it's one thing to say it, it's nothing to do it. And you're doing it. So there's tons of people truly, Tracy, begging to be in your position right now. But I want to talk even like truly let's fast forward just 5 years. What is it that, let's assume you're truly not working, unless you're like, look, Ari, I've got the best clients, I'm consulting. And like, is your plan for true purpose and fulfillment without coworkers and like traditional work stuff?
Yeah, well, I'm still working on that. You pulled up your purpose finder and I wrote down, I need to do that. The thing I'm actually doing right now is I am enrolled in, I don't know if you and your team and others on the phone have heard about the Modern Elder Academy that Chip Conley leads. I'm actually in a program of theirs, an online program called Navigating Transitions, where I'm hoping to explore, like, what do I want the next 5 to 10 years to look like? And beyond that, I mean, I did go through a time where I was riding horses. I was competing in equestrian events. For those of people who know horses, they're expensive. I would love to explore adding that hobby back in as a possibility. So it's something I do want to explore, and I want to get curious about doing some new things that I'm not doing now.
Yeah. It's really hard when I hear people say, I can't wait. I'm going to start, spending my time. And you can see people chatting right now. Janice is like, yeah, I was about to mention this modern elder. So you're not alone, Tracy, with this. I love that you guys are thinking through this in community. But some people really feel bad and they'll talk to me and they go, I just don't know what I want to do in retirement. I'm like, well, how could you? You've been working for 30 years. And now this next stage of life isn't something you just flip a light switch and you're like, I'm good to go. What I want to ask you, Tracy, and sometimes it's a tough question, but what was the scariest part about going, I'm going to shift from this income that was a lot higher. Now I'm doing something on my own, which could be higher down the road, but kind of who knows? Like what was scary about that?
Well, certainly the finance piece of it was scary. The what if I fail and I have to go back to a corporate job? Um, I was very fortunate. One of my former colleagues and former bosses that I worked with said, "Hey, Tracy, would you be open to coaching in my program?" And so, knock on wood, I feel blessed that I was given an opportunity to do some freelance work in an area that I'm really passionate about. But the finances are scary. And I have a real time story for you,
Yeah.
Ari. So it's you told me, like, you got to be mindful. There could be surprises that pop up. Just yesterday, I took my car into the shop. I have a car that's old, it's an older model, it's paid off. I took it into the shop and they said, you need a new front axle on your car. I'm like, oh, geez. And I've done the math, did the research, and I'm like, okay, I think I need to buy a new car. And you and I modeled, okay, let's put that new car in every 10 years. And now I'm like, it needs to happen now.
Yep.
And the first year of my semi-retirement. So I think I'm a planner by nature. And so the scary thing for me is, oh, what if things don't go according to plan? And so the last 2 days have been an example. And it's just like, okay, well, how do I tweak what I'm doing now? What changes can I make to modify my plan so that I still feel okay? And I mean, you and I had another call where you said, Tracy, you're okay. You're not going to run out of money. So that was a good example of things that can pop up that you just have to be ready to bob and weave for.
Real example. I love that. And car stuff is just the worst. So I totally get that. I had someone come to me that was naturally a penny pincher. And so it was hard for them. They're like the coupon person. And they're like, look, I know I have plenty of money, but I just have it in me. I'm not going to stop doing this. I'm like, I'm not asking you to stop, but I want to make sure we're not over optimizing. And they're like, what do you mean? Aren't you like the optimization guy? I go, to a point, but then there's a point where it's dangerous. And they're like, why would that be? And I said, right now you're trying not to buy a new car and you're driving around in this dangerous car. So imagine you optimize perfectly and God forbid something happens to you or a loved one. I think you're not going to worry as much about your 401k. I think you're going to worry more about this. So when that stuff comes up, Tracy, my dopey joke, I'll say, I don't do plans, I do planning. And yeah, that new modeling of every 10 years we buy a car, it's like, hey, that sounds good, but what does real life say? And so I encourage clients, look, I want you to buy the car when it turns out there's a potential health impact. Doesn't might mean we have to work 6 more months or 3 months or another year or spend less. Like stuff's gonna come up. I want to go to some of the questions that are coming in.
Yeah,
Tracy.
I see some popping up.
Woods says, Tracy, was there any hesitation to this new retire out of fear of losing your identity? Any thoughts there?
Oh, yeah, that's such a good one. Well, I was in a VP role at my company. I had been there 20 years. I had a certain place in the business community here in Portland, Oregon that I was in. And yes, and this was a question that came up in a group in the Modern Elder Academy yesterday. I was worried about, am I still going to be needed in my new role? Am I still going to be respected? And what are people going to think? And someone in that, I won't take credit for this, but someone in the Modern Elder Academy yesterday, as we were talking through these kind of things, one thing that I kept thinking about was, what kind of example do I want to set for my daughter? And who do I think, I should be for her right now as I'm making these changes? And I was really in a point where I wanted to do something different. I was dreaming about doing something different. And for me, I didn't want to put that off because I didn't want to put off showing my daughter what it was like to chase your dreams and tell her, oh, well, I'm just going to put this off until you graduate from college and then I'll follow my dreams. So to answer the question, yes, I was worried about my identity, and I just had to come back to a question of, well, what's most important to me, and really look at my value system as part of making the decision.
Amazing. Amazing. Hey, I want to come to you because you're someone with kids right now and you're obviously not retired and you have me here and then Jay and then Tracy. So you guys are getting everyone in their stage of life right now. Jay, as you're hearing Tracy discuss really hey, I think I kind of know me. I want to ride more horses. I want to have fun. I hope my health is in a position to do so. I want to set an example for my daughter. I'm still working. I'm just doing a different type of work now. What thoughts are going through your head, number one? And number two, is this the type of stuff that you're hearing from most clients that you're talking to?
Yeah, I think what Tracy said's beautiful, right? I did that recently, Tracy, with studying. When I started here, I had to study for my Series 65, and it was a lot harder than I thought, right? And I was in the insurance industry, so I studied for my insurance exam. I thought, oh, no problem, I'll do it. And it was an eye-opening thing. And my wife said, Jay, you're really setting an awesome example for our kids who are watching you study day in and day out and work your butt off and go through these emotional ups and downs as I was taking practice quizzes, and sometimes I'd fail, sometimes I wouldn't, but I grinded, right, and I tried hard, and it was cool because my kids got to see that. And just like you want to create this example, and I think that's so beautiful, especially like as we go through these different moments of life and retirement. And my parents are going through retirement right now, and it's interesting to see how they're both sets are dealing with that. um, but yeah, I think the number one thing I hear is I kind of want to, like I hear a lot of, I just want to know where I'm at, right? I want to know what I can do. Um, I want to feel clarity and confidence going into retirement. And I thought the best way I heard it the other day was somebody said to me, he goes, Jay, I'm just sick of pushing the rock. I've been pushing the rock my
Mm,
whole life and I'm done. Like, I want to enjoy retirement. I want peace of mind. I want to sleep. And basically, I want to hand over that responsibility of doing my own finances and all that. So, those are kind of the common things I hear. And like, that's what is fun about us working at Root and doing what we do, is creating that peace of mind. Ari's had, he's talked to you about issues with like financial planners and his parents. My mom got into a Ponzi scheme and they lost a lot of their retirement. And she's 73 years old. She's been working as a nurse for 50 plus years because of like not being ready for retirement. So these are things that are near and dear to us. So I think that's why for me and Ari and James and all the advisors, we have this kind of North Star of wanting to provide that clarity and confidence going into retirement.
Yeah, we're not just doing this because it's a job. And Tracy, how did you, should I say, get through the tough times when you had the Sunday scaries and the feelings of, look, I want to go, but I don't know if I'm able to. Like during the tough times, how did you get yourself through it? Because a lot of the people on the call right now are like, look, I want to retire one day too. This sounds good, but I just don't know if I can do it. I don't know how. Like, how did you get yourself through those times?
yeah. I worked pretty closely with an executive coach to
Mm,
help me navigate the tough times. And one actually said something that was really interesting. And one coach said to me, and this was probably 3 years ago, he said, "Why don't you practice not retiring?" Which I
mm,
thought was an interesting concept. And so he said, why don't you practice starting to think about the things that you would want to explore if you were retired? And so it, that kind of gave me a little bit of hope and inspiration. And then there's another individual that I follow on LinkedIn. Your followers might want to check him out.
yeah.
Lon Stroshine, he heads up this group called Normal 40. And he wrote a book that I read about, and I really studied, his posts as well. And then there was another book that I read that was pivotal for me, and it was by Arthur Brooks, From Strength to Strength.
Hmm.
And this book was life changing for me. And it talked about how at certain through your career, you have knowledge that is applied to your job, and that at a certain point, that wisdom moves to wisdom that you can just apply to your community. It's more purpose driven and how you want to share that wisdom. And for me, that was a life changing book where I thought, I think now is the time that I need to explore making a change. So for the back to your original question, what advice would I give? I think maybe looking into those types of programs to explore the purpose finder, as you talked about. Um, before you're ready to pull the trigger in making the financial shift.
Yeah. To me, it always starts financial first. It's like, hey, I'd love to retire, but I need to make sure I have the confidence to do so. It's fun dreaming about what we're going to do, but if financially you don't know you're in a spot to make it happen, I think it's difficult. Once you're like, okay, I'm good, I have clarity, that's where I would argue the tough work begins, but it is work. Now, Tracy, a lot of people I know are going to be reaching out going, this was awesome, so helpful. More people are going to watch the recording back on this. You can see more questions are coming in that I want you to answer, but I want to, if it's okay with you, Tracy, am I able to put your email into the chat? So if people want to email you, and I have the one in the pivot project, the one ending in that, is that the preferred email?
Yes.
Okay. So guys, I'm going to drop
use
this
that
in the chat. So if you guys have questions for Tracy, if you want to follow her on LinkedIn, anything along these lines, I'm going to drop all of this in right now. We'll see if there's a few more questions, Tracy, that reach out that you see that you want to answer. And you've been more than gracious with your time. So some people are sharing, like Phil here, here's what's worked for him. Retirement for me allows time to pass on knowledge, my thoughts on how to achieve happiness, travel, exercise, well-being, more investing. Great. Michael here, have you been able to maintain structure and routine? How difficult was it? Any thoughts on that, Tracy?
Yeah. Well, I don't consider myself truly retired. I love, Ari, your words to describe it, recreational employment. And then I like to say that I'm retired from a corporate era. And I'm in more what I would call a career pivot track. But back to the question, how do you maintain structure? It's not always perfect. Sometimes I just want to hang out in my sweats and relax. But usually the days are pretty typical. I get up at the normal time because I have to take my daughter to school. I take my dog on a walk every day. I make sure, okay, by a certain time, I'm going to be in front of my desk checking emails, or if I'm doing client work, on calls, on Zooms. But I try to have a pretty set schedule, work schedule between like 10 and 2. And then I allow some flexibility on the back ends. But the fun thing is just giving myself the ability to say, okay, do I need a break today? And do I have to work? No. And so it's kind of fun to play with that a little bit.
Yeah.
And also the other thing I've been doing that I think is important is I've been staying connected with my business community here in the metro area that I'm in Oregon. So usually once or twice a week, I'll meet up with them for coffee or for lunch or for a walk. And so I'm keeping those connections in my industry that keeps some sense of normalcy.
Amazing. Amazing. Tracy, you are the best. I'm going to let everyone know right now, just here's kind of Tracy's journey, and more questions are coming in. Paul, I know we spoke recently. We're not going to get to every one of these, but I want you guys to know if you have questions, Tracy's awesome. She's open to answering those for you. But Tracy, do you mind just leaving us with kind of what you do now, what this next stage of looks like, just in case there's anyone out there going, yeah, I want to learn more about what Tracy's doing because she's so cool. Like, what's next for you?
Sure. Well, I'm actually, interesting thing in my old business life, this time of year was really crazy for employee benefits. Fourth quarter was our tax season. And so it's really interesting right now as a 180. I'm really doing business planning for next year. So things I do, I help companies that have employee benefits service teams. I help train them on client service skills, presentation skills, how to negotiate with vendors. Also, on an individual basis, I do one-on-one coaching on exploring career pivots. So if anyone on the call is interested in having a complimentary conversation about, what my transition looked like and if I can be helpful to them, that's something that I do ad hoc as well. And it could evolve, Ari. I mean, I'm still in 2025 business planning. So as I go through this Modern Elder Academy, I might come up with some new things that I'll be doing next year.
I love it. Here's what I think is going to happen, Tracy. I think you and Jay are going to be on Shark Tank, and you guys are going to be running the new season. I think that's what's going to happen. Jay's ready. Tracy, thank you for being here. I'm putting in once again for all of you guys. this is Tracy's direct email. You can email her, tracy@pivotproject.net. If you have any questions, you go directly to Tracy. I'm going to hang on here with Jay. We're going to go through more questions. We've got lots of fun stuff coming. But Tracy, I know we've been through already a lot together. I want to tell more people about our journey and what we've done. I want more people to get that financial clarity. So Tracy, anything else you'd like to leave the listeners with regarding our process together, our time, anything like that?
Yeah. So I guess I'll share 2 notes that I wrote down. Was, Ari, as you know, you and I connected after I made the career pivot. And I was kind of like, what am I doing? And I ended up buying the Early Retirement Academy software, which I love because when I was in my prior role, I had similar resources that I could model financial information with. But your Early Retirement Academy went so much deeper and really actually gave me a sense of control because I'm a planner by nature. So having the ability to use your tool was awesome. And then I did, just so everybody knows, I did end up hiring Ari on a project basis to do a model for my next couple of years and what my part-time income might need to look like to augment my other investments. And I will never forget, I wrote it down. When you told me that I wouldn't run out of money, I felt like I could take a breath. And I knew that things would pop up, like the car thing, or there might be health things. But those were 2 resources, and your expertise were life-changing and really kind of took a big weight off my shoulders. So I'm grateful.
That's why I do this, to be honest, Tracy. Everyone's in a different stage of life. You're not going to run out of money. You've heard me say it. You're in a good spot. Sometimes I have to tell people, look, if you keep doing what you're doing, like there's going to be some not fun days down the road, but you're going to be okay. Sometimes I have to say, look, you are going to run out of money. Make this shift. You are going to be okay. And the cool thing about where you're at now is, do you like doing what you're doing? Keep iterating. And I've shared this with you, and I'm going to share it with everyone here because I want you all to hear it. Tracy, you've asked me this, but I think others have asked me as well. They're like, hey, so when you just like started the podcast, the YouTube channel, what did you start at? Like 1 million downloads a day? I'm like, no, I started for 2 years with no one listening to this thing at all, where my fiance is like, hey, why are you talking to the wall every single week? Because no one was listening. So if you look at this, guys, this is my chart of my podcast from December 2020. Keeps going, still nothing, no one. Then all of a sudden I'm talking about recreational employment. I'm finding my niche. So it's taken me 4 years to really get a sense. And this is just on the podcast. And of course there's YouTube and all this stuff of, I want to help people no matter where they're at. And for some of you, it's like Tracy says, you play with the software, you get clarity, you get more control, you run your what if scenarios, you're good. Others of you go, look, I don't want to spend my time. And I think I put the numbers in right, but I don't really know. So I want to do a one-on-one call. And now Tracy will talk about in the future when it makes sense, if you want to fully delegate and you're working with an advisor at Root. But I shared it with you. I said, look, I don't know if it makes sense yet. I think you're set with what you've got right now. And then when that time comes in, and just like as Tim is saying here, Academy Right Capital, it's better than Fidelity's tool. Arisha is saying, Tracy, thank you so much for your insight. Nice topic. Thank you, Louisa. Jake is super grateful. Tracy, thank you again for being here. And if you ever need anything, this community is always here for you.
Oh, it was an honor and a pleasure. Thank you guys, and nice to meet everyone. Great. I'll hang on, and if there's other questions in the chat, I'll stay on for a little bit longer. And thank you for having me.
Of course, you're welcome. So, Tracy,
thanks, Tracy.
Here, I'm going to put her video off. She's still with us here in the background. She won't be with us for forever, of course. Jay, I know we've got to take kids coaching and do all the fun stuff. So, guys, we're just going to hang on a little bit more because I have a few things I want to discuss with you. But guys, let me know, was this helpful? And let's see some of the thoughts here coming in from Mike and from LD. You know, whenever I see LD, Jay, I'm like Larry David. I don't know why my brain goes to that, but I'm like, LD, baby, LD, Larry David. So I'm going to assume you're Larry David. Luis is like, I agree with you, Tim. I was using Fidelity, but this new software is more detail. I saw some funny comments up here, Jay, that I wanted to allude to, but some of them are coming in fast. So thank you guys. And selfishly, this makes it fun for Jay and I, like the comments and the chat we like looking at. So we appreciate it. Let me go through a few other things here that I wanted to go through. I know you guys are chatting to each other, so I think that's pretty cool. We're still working on the community, and that is on its way, so don't worry. Phil.
Good synergy.
Yeah, exactly. Phil's going, I'm retired, and my concern is finding my purpose. I have a full life, but still searching. Is this a pointless exercise? Phil, it's not a pointless exercise. Phil, if you knew exactly what you were going to do, I would still be concerned and I would not believe you because no one says they have it dialed in exactly. But truly, Phil, when I'm hearing someone say, I'm retired, my concern is finding my purpose, you're talking to Tracy. You're talking to, you're going through the post-career purpose finder. You're really doing something that feels like you're getting progress. And I hear too many people go, look, I think I know what I want to do. And they just keep chugging along. And then they're 75 and they never sat down and went, I'm going to get my purpose in order. So it's not easy. I would say, Phil, this is harder than the other stuff that I often talk about, the taxes and the withdrawal and the healthcare. And look, I like that stuff because I'm weird, but I'm sure I'm going to get to a point where I'm like, yep, this is harder. So you can see here, Jake is going, this was really good. It's nice to focus on the non-financial side of retirement, which can really only happen once you have the financial side dialed in. Paul, super helpful. Single cab. Some of you guys are saying, hey, am I on the wrong microphone? It might have defaulted to a different microphone. So if I don't sound perfect, I'll switch that in a second. Janice, I have a monster of a career that's physically, spiritually, and mentally draining. I love it. I train for life every day so I can do this as long as possible. Janice, I hear that also. I love that. Like right now, Jay and I love what we're going to do. If you told me here's $5 million tomorrow and I'm not allowed to work at Root anymore, I'd be like, well, like, no, like I wouldn't even debate it for a second. I'm like, I want to do what I'm doing. This is what I love doing. 703 here. Does Root have a community Facebook or anything people can join, even if they're not clients? This is what we're working on. My hope is in the next month, we can release it. There's some compliance stuff and we want to make it really special when we do officially launch this community. Tracy's probably going to be moderating in there.
Yes, she will.
Yeah. Jay, any other questions or things you're seeing as it's coming in? Let me play around with my microphone for a little bit.
No, I'm just looking through here. There's got a lot of great conversations. You know, it's funny about the Right Capital tool. That's one of the number one emails we get is, hey, what's that software you guys use in the videos that James and Ari uses? We love that. So that's exciting. And so you guys know, when you become a client of Root, you get Right Capital. You get to use it all the time.
Seriously. Okay, guys, I just switched the microphone, so it
sounds
way better.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Guys, sorry, to be honest, the financial weapon, Lucas, told me this is the right one. So, guys, let's go get Matt. I'm just kidding. Lucas didn't do that. It was me. So, thank you, guys. Like, some people, so what are we, 40 minutes in? I'm not mad at you guys, but look, you're like, hey, Ari, are you on the wrong microphone? Like, imagine, guys, I had like a huge booger right here. Like, would you guys not going to tell me? Like, you guys, I'm expecting at this point for you to be like, Ari, microphone sounds terrible. 5 minutes in, what are you doing? Go buy a new one. Like, send me the link. Like, that's the relationship level I want here. Okay, let's see here. Guys, there's a few selfish things I want to go over that I want to tell you about the Academy because I have some updates for you. But I want to see if it's applicable. So here's my questions in my ask. Okay, so first question. How many of you have rental properties? How many of you have rental properties? Just say Y for yes and for no. Let me know in the chat. So how many of you have rental properties? That's my first question. Y for yes and for no. Other question that I had, let me go back to my list here. And Jay, anytime you have to go, coach, and do your thing, you're good. Carlos here. This was very helpful. Thank you. Go Root, go. Frank, get the financial weapon. Oh, Jay, have we decided your nickname? Has everyone on here any other thoughts for nicknames? I think we had, what was it? Shark Tank Jay. We had Jedi Jay.
Jedi Jay. Oh man, there's some good ones. We'll have to keep it open for debate, maybe.
Okay, we'll keep it open. No,
you guys crushed it on Lucas. He is the financial weapon. Do you guys know Lucas came out of the womb studying finance? I love. Lucas was besides Ari. Lucas was my tutor and coach during the Series 65 because
guys, look at this.
He's incredible.
Jay, look at this screenshot. So I took a screenshot of this of the last live we were on. Look at yes. Okay, some of you have rental properties. So single cab is like, I'm a professional videographer. I notice these silly things. Not silly. single cab. So thank you for telling me about the audio, because now everyone else gets to benefit. Okay, look at this. This is a screenshot, Jay, from the last live where
Okay.
someone commented. They go, Lucas, in 20 to 30 years, when I'm ready to retire and you're the VP of Root, I volunteer to be your first YouTube guest. So,
Look
guys,
at
this
Lucas, so
was
excited.
so awesome. Okay. So you guys told me
I
about
love it.
rental property. Edmundo's like, yep, I have it. Tim votes Jedi J. Great hair, Jay. Oh, great hair, Jay. Hey,
Hey, thank
simple
you.
but elegant.
Thank you.
Michael's like, he knows every answer when Ari asks him a question. So Jay, I'll quiz Lucas during the live. And by the way, this is what I wanted to mention. Literally, I would have felt so stupid if I forgot this. So yeah, I'll quiz Jay, and I'm actually going to, I'll quiz Lucas. I'm going to use this as a training program, Jay, for more of our advisors and associates and all that good stuff. I just got this email. I changed, you can see, remove the name. Ari, really enjoy the concept of a special guest. So awesome of you, Tracy, to be here. Would you be interested in hosting a panel discussion, even if it's Zoom, with some of your CFPs in order to get to know them and their views on Root, how they work, and related stories? I think that's a great idea. So I definitely want to have them on. I just need to practice with them for 80 hours so that at a minimum, they say everything I told them to say. Because if they say one thing off, we're going to rehearse it. It's going to be memorized. No,
Yeah.
guys, we're going to bring them on. I want to hear more about it. Michael's like, that's me. Now, Michael, sorry, Jay, I want to get your thought. But Michael's like, hey, Ari might be throwing him some softballs, or he's earned the nickname. Michael, I'm not throwing the softballs. And in the next, as they keep coming on, I'm going to keep going up the level here. Jay, sorry, any thoughts?
No, I was going to put a great question up for you that I actually heard today.
Okay, go for it.
And they said, look, I love listening to James and Ari because it's a very common thing, right? I listen to them. They're so trustworthy. They speak in a language I can understand about something that can be complex. How do I know your advisors are going to give me that root feeling? And I was like, that's a great question.
It's a great question. This is my favorite question ever. Okay. So guys, here's how I love answering this question. I'm so stoked. And guys, we didn't even prep this. Okay. So listen to this. Let's assume that you are, I'm just going to say, you review, what's the word? Just any new potential prospect for a job. Okay. Someone comes in, they hand them their resume. Let's just do it with you. So I'll role play it. So I'm like, Jay, trust me, you're a perfect role. I just need to see your resume. You hand me your resume. I see on there, I go, Jay, looks like you're proactive. It sounds like you're proactive. That's pretty important. Do you think that's important? Like, yes, of course that's important. I go, well, how do I know? And you're like, you're just gonna have to believe me. Okay. I'm a proactive person. I'm like, look, that sounds good, but like, how the heck am I supposed to know? So guys, we don't have a recruiting. We don't use Indeed or ZipRecruiter or like people are like, what's your hiring policy? I'm like, I don't have one. They're like, well, you're lying to me because I see some right here. So like, what the heck, where they find you? I'm like, I picked them under the 405. I'm just kidding. What I tell people is I say, look, how do I know if James and I are talking about the planning and proactive? How on earth are you guys going to know if your advisor is going to be proactive? Well, to me, the first step is, are they going to be proactive to get this job? Now, some people, Jay, as you know, don't love us because we don't have 200 advisors. Well, I haven't had 200 people come and be proactive, so they don't get to join Root. So yeah, we get some angry emails of, why don't you have more advisors? So the wait list isn't 3 months or whatever. I'm like, because I'd rather you come on and know you're going to get the same level of planning. So let's assume, I'm just going to pick on Jordan because he's got the nice beard here. Jordan is here right now going, look, I'm at Vanguard. I'm at Charles Schwab. I'm at all these fancy companies. I'm watching you and James on YouTube. I'm listening to the podcast. You're telling me stuff I didn't even know. I love this stuff. And I think I want to work for you guys, but I just want to make sure I get to choose who I work with. So what's really special, in my opinion, about what we're doing is, let's assume Jay and I think you're the nicest person ever. We don't get to decide if you work with Root. Our advisors get to go, I think you're a good fit. I can add value. I want to work with you. So to answer your question, Jay, to get this job, you have to be proactive. Now you're doing the in-depth financial test with James. Now you're doing the vibe check with me and Dan and you and the rest of the team. So to really know if you're going to get an advisor, what I tell people is, get ready, because you have a secret language with your advisor where you're going to hop into a meeting and Jordan is going to ask you, he's going to say, okay, Jay, Are you ready? Because we're going to eat some cauliflower. And if you're like, what did you just say? Like vegetables? Well, you could see how some people would be confused,
Yeah.
but other people that are listeners are like, oh no, this is what I'm looking for. Cauliflower, we're going to do Roth conversions. I get it. We're going to fill up the no-brainer brackets. I got that. Like, that's what this is for. So Jay, love that question.
Yeah.
Cool. I
Absolutely.
see Abby here is made a little note
Who's
here.
that?
Coach Jay. Love
Who's
that.
I think I know that person.
The only entitled people are those who think we owe them something. Working hard and saving is not entitled. Lots of different thoughts coming in here, guys. And you guys are going to laugh at this, but some of my family's very nice. Okay. But some of them are too nice. So we were at a restaurant recently, and I'm going to show you the rental property thing. I promise. I'm not just deflecting. Okay. I just have to tell you this. So I'm at a restaurant, really nice. My family's so nice, sometimes too nice. And the waiter's like, guys, how is the food? Okay. And my cousin's like, it was interesting, and I'm like, I chime in, I go, that means really bad. Okay. So the whole table starts laughing because, when you have food and you're like, yeah, it was interesting. You tried, I'm like, it means it was really bad. Don't take it personally. We're still going to pay for it. You're going to get a tip. Don't worry about it. But it's always funny when people are like, that was an interesting thought. You're different. Okay. So always fun stuff. Okay. Tim is going, Ari's in California. Luke is in Florida. Tim, where's Jay? Tim, Jay is in the metaverse, actually. This is AI right now with us on the line. No, Jay is in California. He's 20 minutes away from me. And we get to hang out. Luckily, as much as we can, we'll have retreats and we'll do internal stuff. But Jay is here in California. And Tracy, thank you, because I know you're still on and answering questions. And so Tracy's going in, and guys, this is like the next level stuff where the people that are fans of Root are going in and helping Jay and I while we're having these chats. So with that being said, let me show you guys, is it cool, the rental property stuff. So this is new. Now, a lot of you guys, I think I went over this last week. Can you guys remind me? I think I did, but I'm trying to think. I either released it like late last week or before the live. Maybe I haven't shown it to you guys, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. And if you're like, we already saw this, just tell me I'm interesting. Okay. I'll know what that means. Okay. So let's go through here. I'm going to my course or going inside the course. You guys are seeing literally like how this gets made. So some people, and I don't blame them, okay, but some people start hopping into the academy and they're like, Ari, this didn't work. And I'm like, look, it all works, okay? User error, my friend. You didn't watch the videos. So the point here is there's a lot in the course. There's lots of videos. There's lots of lessons. There's a ton that goes on in here. So you're going to see my screen right now. This is the actual, let me put you on my other screen. Okay, so this is the actual course, like where I'm building it. I go in here and I'm like, guys, here's the lessons. And every lesson you can see has videos and there's modules. And most of you know all of this. But if you don't, you can see I have a whole thing on what are the pro tips. And you can see if you want to do, for example, pension analysis. If you want to see the new real estate tool, I'm going to show you in a second. You want to understand part-time income or withdrawal strategies, or just, guys, I put all these resources in here. I'm like, hey, would you just let me make your life easier? You have questions on health insurance? Do this. You're going to inherit an account from a family member? Make sure you know this. You need a plan for purpose and fulfillment? Contact Sin. Contact Tracy. You want to know what calculators I use? Like if you want to really like become your own advisor, you can see me. These are specific lessons that I went through. I got a bad haircut that day. Don't laugh at me. It was different. Okay. I was like, hey guys, this hair. He's like, how was your haircut? I'm like, it was interesting. You tried your best. Okay. So when I'm in here, I'm going to go over the new real estate tool. Now, this is a lot. Okay. So I'm going to show it to you. So I want you guys, and Jake, thank you for this. Jake is like, honestly, the resources are as important as the software. Jake, and I'm going to let all of you guess for fun right now. How many people do you guys think skip right to the software and send us an email and go, this didn't work? Or like, guys, everyone, I'll tell it to you. You can do the poll anyway, humor ourselves. But most people are like, I'm just going to hop right into the software. I'm like, look, the software is good, but you need to make sure it's being like well managed, or it really is. I mean, it's powerful, but you're really becoming your own advisor. So I don't think, because you have not told me in the chat that I went over this last week, this is a new rental property analysis tool that I put in there. You're not going to edit it. And some of you are going to go, Ari, Was the financial weapon doing this? Was Jedi J doing this? I mean, were you doing this? You were probably doing it because I'm clicking buttons and it's not working. Okay. It works for you, Ari, on the video. So what'd you do wrong? Okay. You guys need to make sure, I'm going to Command Z here, click File, make a copy. File, make a copy. Okay. Now, I went to computer science as my minor just to learn how to do file, make a copy. I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. Okay. So what on earth is this? This is if you have rental property. And no, Tim is going, do Academy subscribers get notified if new content is added? Once a user goes through it, they may just use the tool and not go back to that. Yes, Tim, you are absolutely right. I send out an email and Jake is really mad at you, Tim, because Jake's like, Ari, I'm so sorry. Tim didn't see the email. You want me to get rid of Tim? You want me to go horrible bosses style on Tim? I can make that happen, okay? 703 is like impressive. That's detailed. This is all AI right now, 703. I'm not even talking, okay? So let's get into it. So what on earth is this? If you have rental properties and you're wondering, what the heck do I do? Is my property any good? I want you guys to focus on the cap rate. How many of you know what a cap rate is? Okay, this is a little bit more nuanced. I'm going to give you the example. Tracy, please keep answering questions because you're making my life a million times easier. Okay, cap rate. How many of you guys know? Yes, Y for yes, N for no. Do you know what the cap rate is? Now, I'm going to explain it anyways, but I want to get a sense because I might decide I want to go into amortization right now. I might decide I want to go deep into operating and net income and all this fancy stuff, but I don't want to go in too deep. And I'll give you guys my favorite story while you answer the poll for me. Okay, so answer the poll. Now, I told this before, but I went to the doctor. I said, Doc, what you just said sounded so good. I think that you think it sounds great. I don't know what you just said. Okay, so try again. And so he starts explaining to me the lab that the pills are made in. I'm like, Doc, you're in too deep now. I could care less what lab the pills are made in. Just tell me, do I need the pill? Do I not need the pill? That's what I care about. And if you can't explain it to me, like, I like you, but I need a new doctor. That's like speaks in a way. Okay, some of you are like, no, 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 yes. Okay, I'm going to explain it to you and then I'm going to show it to you. Okay. So when anyone comes to me talking about rental properties or, I'm going to get a duplex, I'm going to write it off. And then really I'm going to be in the metaverse. So it's like I get a discount. It's like, okay. When it comes to real estate, you need to think about the quality of the property. So think about it like this. Let's assume I have $1 million. Let's use Jay. Let's assume Jay has $1 million property. And Jay's like, I love real estate. I think my property is the best thing ever. I go, Jay, let me evaluate it. And you're like, okay, fine. But like, it's already the best. So like, don't even care what you say. I go, okay, let me just humor myself. Okay. I'd say, Jay, let's assume that it's worth $1 million and it brings 100,000 a year. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Okay. And I go, Jay, how much does it bring in? And Jay's like, Ari, 100,000 a year. I'm like, okay, what about after the roof leaks and you pay the property manager? And you're like, okay, fine, maybe like 60,000 a year. Like I go, is that after taxes? You're like, give me a break. Okay, 50,000. I'm like, okay, 50,000. That is what it's actually bringing in. What is that 5%? That 5% is a dividend. Does that name sound familiar? It's like a dividend from Procter and Gamble. That is the cash flow from the property. But here's the cool thing about real estate. You have the cash flow from the property and you also have appreciation. So Jay's like, Ari, you forgot. I have $1 million property. Yeah, I'm taking home 50,000, but it's also going up in value 2% every single year. So it's kind of the dopest thing ever, Some of my clients are like, I'm so dope, I'm like, you're cool. Okay, relax. So now Jay's like, I've got a 5% dividend, cash flow hitting me no matter what. It's awesome. Yeah, maybe there's a tenant that leaves. Maybe there's some vacancy, but let's assume Jay's a good manager. He's making sure everyone is buying all the hockey bags. And so he lets them, get a little discount. So 50,000 is coming in and now 2% appreciation, 5% plus 2%, 7% is what's called the cap rate of the property. How good is this property that we have? So if we could go to the stock market and get 10%. Some people go, well, let's do that. I mean, 10%, no property manager. I don't have to deal with anything. Roofs don't leak. Why would I ever do real estate? Well, The stock market doesn't do 10% every single year. Sometimes it's down 30%. Sometimes it's down 20%. Sometimes it's up 40%. It's more volatile. So more often than not, there's a blend, and real estate can be something you own passively. Here's the point of the story. Someone came to me going, I've got the best property ever. And I'm like, look, we've got to develop this sheet. And this was actually developed by one of our advisors, Jay, you know Chris very well. So he's like, all right, I got this property. It's just so great. It's worth $775,000. So I'm practically Bill Gates. And, at this point, yeah, maybe, there's no vacancy because I'm like the best manager ever. Okay, maybe there's a little bit, but let's not talk about that. I go, okay, well, if you've got vacancy and you've got property managers and there's taxes and depreciation and all this fancy stuff, their cap rate was 3%. So the point as to why I'm bringing this up, I'm not saying all of you have terrible properties. I'm saying I just want you to know the quality of the property. I have a friend that's like, I want to diversify. I go, don't do that. You should hold on to your real estate property. The cap rate is 14%. I could get 10% or so in the stock market, but you're getting 14%. You're telling me you like managing it. You're doing it for fun and it's doing well. Awesome. Like, why would you not do this? And he's like, well, I like it, but to be honest, it's just a lot of work. And I go, I have a name for that called ROH. Does anyone know what the H stands for? Okay, tell me real quick. Anyone, just super quick. Jay, I don't think I've given you this example. Do you know what the H is? If you do, don't tell me though. No? Okay. H is return on hassle. What is the return on hassle? So let's assume your real estate property was 10%. That's the quality of the property. In the stock market, it does 10%. Why would you possibly pick real estate if it's causing all this hassle on top of it? I have other clients that are like, look, think about it like work. This is my favorite example. Michael knew it. And I know, Michael, there's a little delay. Michael's like, return on hassle, baby. I got it. Look at this from single cab. We got reassessed from Prop 13 basis of my parents. California property tax raised 10x. Single cab could have been in a worse spot, like Michael here, who put all his money in Bitcoin. All right. So single cab, just be grateful you're not Michael. All right. Michael, I'm just kidding. I know you didn't put into Bitcoin. You put it into Dogecoin. Okay. Russ is going, yep, hassle. And Jupe here is like, ooh, you also get more leverage, right? Well, Jupe, here's what's cool about real estate. You put $100,000 down. What if the property appreciates even more? Oh, it's kind of almost like what? It's almost like getting money on margin. So you can see how, guys, all of the different things. I'm just thinking about this right now, Jay. This is pretty cool. Tracy's answering all the questions on the non-financial. I'm going deep in the financial.
Right.
I can see 15 people asleep right now while I'm doing this, but Tracy's waking them back up. So, guys, lots of things I want to go over in more detail, but look at this from Jupe. I get calls all the time from tenants with clogged toilets, okay? Sounds interesting, okay? I don't want to hear about those stories, but Jay, I like the Jedi Coach Matchmaker. We're going to have to decide what that is. Tracy, super fun. We definitely need to do this again. Okay, guys,
Yep.
so the real estate, the thing is that is I'm just going to tell it to you because when someone shows you something, it's like so cool. And then you're like, I don't know where to get it. It is in module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's module pro tips and more, module 6, lesson 2. Some of you are like, yep, got it. I'm in the academy. Others of you are like, I don't know what you're talking about. So the link is in there now. You can see it if you want access to all of this. But what I want to leave you all with, Jay, any other thoughts as I'm pulling up a few things here? Anything you're seeing? Any questions?
No, love the engagement here. Can I think of another good question?
Yeah, think of another question if you're asked. So, guys, Jay's taking the first call. Most people reaching out, they're like, look, I think I want to work with you guys. I don't know what I don't know. I want to make sure there's value there. It's like, well, of course. Like, why would you pay someone if there wasn't value? So, Phil here, I will be clear though, guys. Most people pay us. You know why? They're like, I want to pay for my time. I don't want to have to do this. Could I figure it out? Maybe. But by the time I figured it out, I lost so much money and I could have just not had to do it along the way. So most people pay us, to be honest, because they're like, it's the tax and the withdrawal and the estate that's different. Oh, that reminds me, Jay, you might have your question, but this is for everyone, especially because this is recorded. I know a lot of you on the live right now are just, Tim, This is the best comment ever. Jay just laughed seeing this. The Jewish digesting system kicking in again. Tim, how'd you know? Okay. This is literally, I'm going to screenshot this. This is literally, Tim's like, Ari just took a pause. I think something, guys, I've got my reflux under control. And you're like, isn't that like a 90-year-old disease? Okay. But it's a real thing. Okay, guys. So, I feel like I'm like trying to preach to you guys. Tim's like, guys, some of you guys, it's actually odd, but it's cool. I like you guys. But one of you was like, Ari, have a good luck at your soccer game this weekend. And it was at the location. I'm like, ooh, are you going to like be there? That's a little weird. But I want to make sure that we're being strategic. So I have a few thoughts. Now, I get some angry emails, not from people going like, what the heck is wrong with your content, but from people that are like, I'm unclear as to kind of the difference. And you said this, but you meant this. And so I want to clear this up because I got probably, I don't even know how many emails on this last week. So let me just do it real quick for you. And I want it recorded. And I'll probably post this somewhere else as well. So guys, let me put this on my screen. Let me make this big here. Tim, I'm still laughing at your comment. Okay. So this is when people are like, what's the difference with you guys versus anyone else? And I will joke. It's a half joke. I'll say, oh, Janice, that's a good one. Okay. I'll say, if you want a traditional advisor, someone who's going to tell you when to rebalance, should you do harvesting, when to, pick this ETF over something else, should you incorporate Social Security into your analysis, I will say, I don't think you should hire us. And I don't think you should hire any advisor because I don't believe they can justify the fee if they're only telling you to rebalance. And Fidelity's like, Ari, you got to stop saying that. You're hurting my business because my clients watch your videos. And now I'm having to justify the fee by clients. They're watching and they're asking me questions. I'm like, look, I'm really sorry. That's not my problem. I need to add significant value or no one should ever pay me. And Vanguard's like, no, I get that. But if you could pipe down, I'm like, no. Maybe I'm going to put it at the beginning. And they're like, don't do that. So my point here, some of the emails I get are, do you guys not rebalance? Do you not pick a portfolio? Guys, we do all of that. All I'm saying is it's the tax and the purpose and the insurance and the estate and the withdrawal that it goes way deeper. And for most of you, you're like, I have saved and invested well. At this point, I need to protect this for lifetime income. And I need to make sure that my taxes are in order. I'm not paying more than I need to. The withdrawal rate, I know where income's going to come from, and that I know I'm in a good spot to retire because I've stress tested to the nth degree. So when people are asking, so do you guys like build the portfolio and like who's designing it? Like, guys, the portfolio design aspect, I'd argue we do this better than any other firm as well. This is, someone that came to me, they've got $5 million. They're going, which account do we pull from? Is it the brokerage? Is it the IRA? Is it an inherited IRA? Is it a trust account? What about how much money are we going to have to weather the downturns? Like, what if I get unlucky and retire? I'm like, well, let's have extra cushion. And what percentage of your portfolio does that represent? And how much is coming from the first account? And how much dividends and interest? And what should our allocation be? And guys, I'd argue what we're doing goes way deeper. So yeah, we do the rebalancing, we invest, we do everything. But some people are like, oh, you only do the tax planning. I'm like, no, we do it all. I'm just saying, I don't believe in hiring an advisor if you're only getting rebalancing. I just don't. I think it's hard to justify the fee if I'm being honest. So Jay, do you ever get that question?
Yeah, I get that a lot. And, I would say the number one potential client that comes to us is either working with a traditional style advisor or has interviewed traditional style advisors. And the issue is that they feel like they're just getting that one bucket, right? Investments. But as Ari said, when you go into retirement, your needs become more complex, right? And so they say, hey, Mr. Advisor, I need someone to help me with tax planning. What does the advisor do? Why don't you hire a CPA? What about my estate and my will? Oh, I got an attorney that you can hire. Then all of a sudden you have all these talking heads that aren't talking to each other and it feels super disjointed. So people say, for lack of better terms, I want it all under one roof, right?
Yep.
I want to consolidate. I want someone that can help me with all those things. So again, we talk about the investment piece. Yes, it's an important piece, but it is only one piece to the greater puzzle that we're trying to solve.
Love it. Okay. Two thoughts. Tracy, I'm going to go to yours as well. But so 703 goes, look, this guy's got some services, okay, versus the traditional, but I bet they caught an arm and a leg. 90% of the time, people pay us less than what they're already paying because our fee is less than 1%. and you get way more value. And if not, don't hire us. And Jay and I will say, please do not pay us, because you are paying an advisor for your time and for financially for you to go, wow, I'd make way more money doing this. Yes, Jake, we're doing this all under one roof. Now, Tracy here goes, hey, Ari, Aaron's asking a question about maxing out a 401k and IRA. Perhaps touch on also setting aside non-qualified. Does anyone know the name of the account that Tracy and Aaron are bringing up here? I'm not going to say it, Jay. I know you know. Don't put it in here. It starts with an S.
Okay.
Does anyone know the name of the account? S R. I don't know if that was the right amount of stars, but I'm just putting it in here. Okay, I was just trying to guess here. But I'll let you guys put it in there. So Tracy and Aaron, and Tracy you already know, but Aaron, as you're thinking about, most people go, I'm going to max out my 401k. And they just kind of do that forever because they're like, I'm ingrained. That's what I was told to do. And they keep maxing it out. And now all of a sudden they're like, here I am. I maxed out my 401k. It's so good, but maybe I want to retire early. And you know what happens? Sometimes they're a little screwed because they've done a good job. They've saved and invested so well, but it's locked up. So you're like, what if I want to do something else? Here we go, baby. Superhero. Jake's like rolling my eyes. Superhero account. Guys, the
Jake.
superhero.
Come on, Jake.
Come on, Jake. Give us a break. So the reason for this is because, guys, what if you're like, what if I want to retire early? So, guys, a few reasons for the superhero, and I've gone over it, but I'm going to do it again. The three main benefits. Number one, what if you want to retire earlier? You're 53. All your money's in a 401k. You hate your job. You have to keep doing it, or you have to find part-time income because you cannot tap into your funds. You can pay the penalty and have your fun, but okay, guys, imagine, sorry, real quick. GDAS says, just join your first live. What is your normal streaming days and time? Imagine, guys, someone came in here and was like, cauliflower. Like, guys, could you imagine how confused they would be right now if they're like, here's a retirement advisor who's what, 9, 10 years old talking about vegetables here. I mean, would you just not be the most confused person ever? Earskin, I know you're working with Paul right now. Earskin, we love you. Earskin was featured on a YouTube video going, hey, thanks, Tracy. That was super informative and helpful. So Jake is laughing right now. Okay. So the second reason, Jay, adios. Okay. The second reason,
bye.
Love having you. Okay. The second reason, guys, that I need you to have the superhero account. Let's assume, hypothetically, you're 57. You go, I don't want to work any longer. Okay. I'm over it. Well, guess what? You're going to have to pull from somewhere. You could do the rule of 55 if you have a 401k. You're not 59 and a half yet, so you can't touch your IRA. But let's give me a little tougher one, okay? Let's assume you're 60. All your money's in an IRA. Some of you are like, I'm a genius, okay? I put all my money. I did it perfectly. I'm 60 years old. I can pull from my IRA. But let's assume you need to do Roth conversions, okay? Many of you know about Roth conversions. Imagine you want to spend $100,000 a year. And you have $2 million and you're 60 years old. You're going to pull $100,000 from your IRA. That increases your income. I'm not against increasing your income. I want you to have income the rest of your life. But let's assume you want to do Roth conversions and you don't have a superhero account, okay? Well, how are we going to pay for the Roth conversion taxes? Because once again, I'm asking you to eat some cauliflower today to avoid having to eat it in the future. Well, the way that you avoid it is a superhero account allows you to pay the taxes, because if not, it's time to pay taxes. You're looking around going, I only have my 401k and my IRA. What the heck do I do? Well, you're going to have to withhold more income from your IRA. What does that do? Increases your income even more. So it doesn't allow you to fill up brackets most efficiently because you have so much money that's just locked up in an IRA, which is why you don't want everything to be pre-tax. I think the biggest YouTube video that I released was someone who is 60 going, look, it's me. All my money is currently, let me pull this up here. All my money is in, let me go back here, right here. I'm 60. All my money's pre-tax. How do I minimize taxes? The second video that you guys resonate with is health insurance. How am I going to cover health insurance? Then it's, can I spend $12,000 a month? Where do I withdraw income from? So I shared this last week. Guys, my goal is not to come in here and start making videos on best new credit card of 2024 or any of that. But I do have a special thing I'm going to tell you right now. So don't look it up. I'm going to tell you this, okay? You guys are smart people. I know you could look it up. Do you know who Humphrey Yang is? Don't go look it up. Humphrey Yang is. Do you guys know? Do not look it up. Do you know who Humphrey Yang is? Yes or no? I'm going to take a sip of water because Tim knows the Jewish digestive system. Okay, let's keep going. Yes, Mike knows who Humphrey Yang is. Cool. Tracy, well said. Guys, rule of 55 is great. It's an option. How many of you guys have heard of substantial equal periodic payments, SEP? Okay. How many of you have heard of rule of 55? Lots of different things. Phil's like Humphrey Yang. I think you're making him up. Russ is like, is that the Bitcoin guy? No. Luis is like, oh yeah, I know Humphrey Yang. I know. Yep. Rolling his eyes. No, 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 no. Mr. and Mrs. Yang's son. Yes, got his update today. He's in NorCal and gives advice how to save money. Okay, guys. So only because you're on the live with me, I'm going to give you this video. I'm going to put it in the link. It's not public yet, and it's not going to be public for, I don't know, 2 weeks or something like this. He's got some good guidance, and I actually like the guy. So I have some concerns with some of the stuff, and I'm going to show you what the heck I'm talking about right now. Okay. So I did a video that's going to come out. But if you don't know who Humphrey Yang is, and we go to his profile, here's someone with 1.5 million subscribers, formerly a financial advisor. He's doing a lot of videos, and some of the videos he's doing, I really like. Some of the videos, though, he's doing, you can see, let me pull it up here. Oh, where did he have it? It was like, not just leasing or buying a car, but he had one video here. I don't know why it's not coming up. Oh, here we go. Inside a $27 million mansion. Guys, I don't want to do content like this. If you guys want me to, because you're like, Ari, it would be so cool. Like, okay, maybe I'll do one. But I'd rather make videos that are very clear for you. This is just a little clickbaity for me, so it's not my style. But if you're like, no, I'd really love for you to go through a $27 million historic White House and get, your insight on it. It's like, don't know how much I could tell you. But here's my point. He's going for maximum subscribers. Nothing wrong with that. He makes a lot of money off YouTube. I'm sure he does well. He holds the Series 7 and Series 66. I used to hold those. That was my first role in the industry. He's not a certified financial planner. So these are licenses that let you sell products. So I'm sure he sold products and then was like, look, this doesn't feel exactly right to me. I have an incentive to sell something that maybe isn't the best fit. So I'm going to instead do something else. I think he does a really good job of simplifying things. But here's the point as to why I'm bringing this up. I have a video where I go through one of his videos, specifically an early retirement investing video. And this is a video that I'm going to show you right here. It's in my YouTube channel, but guys, like these are the videos that are coming out on the horizon. Financial advisor critiques Humphrey Yang's retirement advice. 9 tips for an amazing retirement. Here's how to do the rental property analysis. Here's how to reduce taxes. Here's me discussing what I like about Vanguard and what I don't, like going through the whole thing. There's an unlisted video, which means it's going to come out, and I'm looking at it now. It's not going to come out for a few weeks. It'll come out in a few days. But if you guys want to be the first people to see it, because you're here with me and you could have been anywhere, I'm grateful for that. So I'm going to pull it up here. I think this is the link right here. I'm going to move this to unlisted. So you guys should be able to see this. If you can't, let me know. I'll fire someone. All right. No, I'm not going to fire anyone. Okay. You guys can go through and see it right here. This is the video I'm talking about. That is the Humphrey Yang video. And you can see right here, Janice, I'm walking around the grocery store right now. LOL, reading the comments though. Janice, send me a photo of you in the cauliflower aisle. Okay. Just send me a selfie, email it to me. It'll be funny. I'll put it on here next week. Do you have a video on best way to decide 401k or 401k? OMG. Okay. Guys, looks like someone wasn't here on the last few lives. I'm just beating me up, G-Dash. Okay. I have a whole video where I'm going over that. I had a whole live on it. Let me see if I can find it because I don't have the financial weapon with me right now. But I think I did it recently. And if you guys can find it faster than me, nope, I got it. Here we go. Okay, G dash, here you go. This is answering your question. Should I, okay. Frank Solano, no, stick with the root knowledge, the benefits, retirement, know your brand and love it. Frank, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not doing other videos on, mansions and all that. That's just not my style. I don't want to do a video on best new credit cards. I'd rather do a video on Social Security or withdrawal or stuff that seems more applicable to you guys. G Dash is like, thanks. Okay. Dave B, I think Humphrey lived with his parents until he was 30. I heard that too, but I'm like, look, kudos to him. He got more family time. So other people could think he's losing. I think he's winning. He gets more time. My favorite time was COVID. I was with my parents. So not beating you up, Dave, but look, we don't know why he was with his parents. Maybe it was a financial decision. Maybe it was something else. The FTM, if you do something different, walk us through a soccer game. Design and art by Louisa. Some videos of Humphrey are good. Some are not for me. I think that's with mine too. Like I'll tell you guys, I'll be like, guys, this video is just not going to apply to you. I have a video coming out in 2 weeks. So many of you are going to be so upset. I can already tell you, but there's a stat that people that have over, I think it's $20 million. There's 100,000 people in the US that have over $100,000. Sorry, get me confused right now. There are 100,000 people that have over $20 million in the US, and they don't get a lot of love. Now, I know some of you are like, they don't need love. They have $20 million. I'm like, look, I have videos for people in their 30s. I have videos and strategies for people ever in between. This is one new video coming out for people that have 20 million bucks so they know what to do because the strategies are a little different. So I've got that coming up. I've got pension. I've got healthcare. But guys, I rely on your ideas, your case studies. So this is what keeps it fun for me. Larry David over here is like, I love cauliflower. Single cab, LOL. I think my son is doing that as part of his financial plan. Design is like his videos are not for retirement. Louisa, some of his videos are titled, here's what to do for retirement. So totally get it. Lots of stuff coming in. Guys, you're awesome. Tracy was on here. She was answering questions. She did more than she ever had to do. I'm going to put it in again, her email. So I'm going to pull it up again. You guys should have seen it in the chat. The tough thing with the recordings, because I know some of you are listening right now going, well, the chat's gone. What do? I want to reach Tracy. I'm just going to say it. So if you're listening right now and you want to reach Tracy as well, it will be Tracy, TRACEY at pivotproject.net. TRACEY at pivotproject.net. That is Tracy emails. Guys, thank you for being here. I appreciate all you do. The comments are awesome. I want to make sure that all of you guys are getting the guidance you're looking for. I ultimately just care that you're working because you want to, not because you have to. I know I did not get to every single question, and I'm sorry about that. I did not have the financial weapon. Jedi J had to go take the kids, pick them up, real life stuff here. Tracy, thank you again for everything. You guys are the best. Once again, I will leave you with this because you guys will email me afterwards going, well, what if I want this or what if I want that? Which I get it. Okay, I'm not beating you up. Option one, if you don't know what to do, you start here. This is the academy. Those are the tools if you want to play around with it. I'm putting it on the screen because some of you guys are like, well, I can't find the chat. And how do I do this? And that this is just, if you want to look at it and type it into your browser, have a fun time doing that. Okay. That you can't copy and paste from here. So just click in there. That's the first one. Okay. Second one. That's where Tracy started for you guys, if you're wondering. Tracy started there. Then Tracy was like, look, this is good. I helped. I have more control, but I don't have total clarity. I don't know if I need to hire you guys on an ongoing basis. So now I'm going to go to level 2. Level 2 is a call with me. Sometimes people go, I want to do the call with you. And I'm like, you shouldn't. And they're like, why not? I'm like, look, your case is simple enough or it doesn't make sense to. I don't want you overcharged. You should work with us in 3 years when it makes sense. Or you know what? Just it actually makes sense. Trust me, just make this little tweak in the academy and don't pay me. Other times I go, look, there's a lot of things I can add value. You're going to want to do this. This is level 2. Okay. Level 2, the final level when people want to work with us and you get to talk to Jay and you get to meet why he's so cool. Let's see here. Let me pull this up. Okay. Is the official working with us. Now, you'll go ahead and you can fill this out. This is level 3. That is for clients that want to work with us. Okay, so all of those are in there. Sometimes the chat doesn't populate in the recording, so I'm sorry for those of you. that are not live watching right now on a recording in 3 hours from now, because I've got 100 of you right now, but I know many of you guys are like, hey, this was helpful, but hey, I'm watching this back. So what do I do? How do I find these links? So I put it in the email I sent out. If you're not on my email list, you can email me and you'll be added. Ari@rootfinancialpartners.com. Oscar, I was late. Looking forward to watching in the future land. Ooh, that's cool. So Oscar, don't worry about it. Let's get you retired so you can watch on time. Mike, do you plan on doing live profile reviews like James has started? Yeah, Mike, I've thought about it. James and I are going to do some content together. So hopefully you guys get the best of both worlds. So we'll be doing more of this stuff together. I could be doing it right now. I'm just doing lives and the traditional videos and other stuff I'm doing. So no, I'm not doing that. And nothing wrong with that. I think it works really well. People resonate. The comments are amazing. So guys, I hope this was helpful. Tracy's like, Ari, this was great. You're a great host. I'm grateful for your knowledge and expertise. Thank you guys. The last thing, I've already given you guys a lot, but if you want, today, I got one of the nicest comments I've ever received. So I'm going to share it with you because I'm grateful for you guys. I'm going to tell you what video he left this comment on. Okay, let's go to the video here. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. You guys are going to see it right now. Share. Okay, so let's go here. This video right here. Okay, it's not letting me zoom in for 1 second. Okay. You can see this is my YouTube feed, okay? Soccer highlights and stuff like this. Okay. Watching you is like seeing Michelangelo paint. You have an art of explaining this is a concise and logical manner. Hope to hit 2 million to work with us one day. Guys, this is the video that he's referencing. 5 steps to create a portfolio for lifetime income. This is an important video. If you've not seen it and you're wondering why you need to diversify and how it actually gets occurred, you're going to see right here. You do it right here. Tim, you are awesome. 100 viewers, only 3 likes. Come on, guys, click the thumbs up. Yes, Tim, I appreciate it. Helps more people find this. I love doing this. Jake's like, I'm showing 18, but still way too few. Jake, Tim, you guys are the best. Jake, congrats on retirement. Everyone clap. Louisa, you're not clapping. I'm just kidding. I know you can't clap. Okay. I'm sure you're all clapping. Jake, congrats. You don't get to do that every day. So I tell people, go celebrate. And this year is where I want you to celebrate and like truly be a successful spender. The first year of retirement is about going, not spending frivolously, but going, look, how much would I love to spend? And you might find 120,000 a year is really fun and it leads to an awesome retirement. You might go, I don't really need more than that. 80,000 a year, I'm good. And that kind of meets my needs. Awesome. Louisa, thanks so much again. You're the best. I love the Academy. I accidentally deleted the email with the link to watch the video. So I emailed you today, get the link. My team will send it to you. So don't worry. Thank you.